So when you're a stand-up kind of boss who likes to show up and support team members, firing a member of the team is not easy. I remember the first time I had to do it. I had the shakes, waves of panic-filled guilt, and my imagination was running wild with images of the person yelling and ninja kicking me when I would tell them to leave. Oh my gosh, the run-up was definitely more traumatic than the actual experience. Honestly, the actual conversation was uneventful, save for this tremble that I had in my leg that I had to mask under the table. Afterwards, it was this lingering guilty feeling I had to deal with. Guilt because I imagined my poor team member out there in the big bad world, and relief because I finally felt the walls had stopped caving in from the disappointment and dissatisfaction that was dominating my thoughts whenever I saw this person at work underperforming. And that's the point of it all. When you take up the leadership mantle in your business or workplace, a team member who fails to meet the moment in their job is on you. Your objective is to navigate the business to its goals. And frankly, there is no way of captaining the ship to a point if you spend your whole time looking back at the one person who is not getting with the program. As with these things, there will be 10 to 20% of scenarios where the manager is definitely the villain of the story. Their poor ethics or skills will have them firing the wrong people for the wrong reasons. This video is not for that scenario. This is for the rest of the time, when we have a genuine concern about a team member and we are needing to be the one to make the tough decision for the sake of all the parties involved. I've come to understand that letting go of someone can be a fortifying experience for you and the team that remains behind, where you're showing up for your business vision and demonstrating that this takes priority over anyone's comfort, including your own. For the team member you're letting go, this can be one of those change of course life experiences, where by letting them go, you're giving them an opportunity to find something better than you. This is the crux of the matter. As much as this person is not right for the business is not right for them. And that's okay. There is a world where there's a happy boss and a happy employee can coexist. We just have to do the work to find each other. I will acknowledge here that there is a scenario where the fired employee is under considerable life strain. This may be a tremendous financial responsibility for their home. In those scenarios, there's seemingly no fairy tale ending. All you genuinely have the power to do is to treat that person with respect. Don't condescend them with pity and unsolicited advice. And I wouldn't drag the pain out. Be clear, succinct, and if they want further insight on what went wrong, share it constructively so they can prevent the situation from repeating. If they don't want to know, respect that too. All that said, so what are the steps that you can take to make this a healthy experience for you and the team member you need to let go? Making the decision. When you get the sense that something has to be done about a team member that isn't meeting the mark, the goal is to analyze if your judgment is correct and whether firing them is the best route forward. I usually have 3 questions I like to ask myself. 1. If this person wanted to leave their job today, how much would you fight to keep them? This is one of those magic questions that can distill your thoughts very quickly on the matter before you. If you're quick to answer, not much, I think it's fair to say the time has come to part ways. Similarly, if you're minded to try to hold on to them only for reasons of inconvenience and reluctance to find someone else, this is also not a good enough reason to let the situation continue, because your inaction will eventually start costing the business in different ways. Saying that, if the thought of them wanting to leave the job is something you would want to fight to stop because of who they are to the business, firing them is obviously not the right outcome. Number 2, where did you fail in this scenario? Regardless of the team members' faults, there is no way you'll be able to build back a healthier team if you can't identify where you went wrong directly or indirectly in bringing about the situation. Maybe your hiring checks weren't good enough. Perhaps your training did not teach the right workflow priorities well enough to the team member. Even in the situation where an employee steals from you, there's perhaps something you can take responsibility for. Maybe your security procedures were weak and they made it easier for the offending team member to think this behavior was acceptable. Identifying your culpability guides you on what you need to fix, but more importantly, helps you remove the emotion out of the situation. When you know you were also to blame, you will restrict your emotional reactions of hurt, outrage, and maybe even extreme disapproval. So your tone when you're speaking to the employee is less emotionally charged and more practical. 3, is there anything the business or the person in question can realistically do to change their work performance? If you can come up with any ideas in response to this question, you need to action it. Talk to the employee about what issues they are having with their performance, and if they're minded to improve it, would they be willing to take on these suggestions? I would also ask them if they have any ideas of their own to achieve the results that you're looking for. If, on the other hand, you can't think of diddly squat, you have your answer. It's time for both parties to move on. Doing the deed. For a team leader, the only thing harder than deciding to fire an employee is breaking the actual news to them. Obviously, there are HR formalities which you are required to be mindful of, and for that, I recommend you get professional advice. But in relation to the rest of it, my experience has taught me that it's best to operate with respect. Acting in the following sequence has usually worked well for me. First, choose a private space that ensures confidentiality unless you're concerned about your safety. Then, review the employee's file before the meeting and know what was wrong with the employee's performance, the steps the company has taken to help improve them, and what will happen now about things like the final paycheck or benefits. Next, clearly communicate as soon as possible at the start of the meeting that you're terminating the employment. Trust me, trying to delay the inevitable and exchanging small talk for too long will heighten the employee's feeling of betrayal once you break the bad news. Next is to briefly explain why you're firing the employee. The best tone to hit is objective and professional. If you're too direct, you risk appearing cold-hearted. At the same time, being too sympathetic can make you seem like you're apologizing or backing out of your decision. The employee will most likely feel confused and upset with the news, so be prepared with answers to the obvious questions they may have. Doing so will make you appear like you have thought about the situation carefully and that you're not acting on a whim. So questions like, do I work the rest of the day or leave immediately? When can I collect my belongings? Do my co-workers know this is happening? And of course, what should I tell my clients? Try to end the meeting on as much of a positive note as possible, providing your contact details for any follow-up questions, and assisting with handover quickly would be a good move. Afterwards, the final component to a healthy firing scenario is how you handle the event in the eyes of the team members that remain behind. The departure of a co-worker can change the mood of the entire office, and it can sometimes cause the other employees to fear for their own job security. We all know that this is not a healthy state of play. To help soothe the shock and horror, the steps I like to take are: 1. Acknowledge and address the firing decision. Whilst respecting the privacy of the departing employee, try to be as transparent as legally possible with the remaining team members. Whether you address them together or in small groups, do give them a moment to ask questions and share their concerns. If you can't answer for legal reasons, make sure you tell them that rather than try to evade the question. 2. Communicate future plans and goals. Talk about a plan of how the additional workload will be managed and what you will be doing in the future. Remember, you had notice of the termination, so showing you have a plan will communicate that you are acting from a place of strength and not a mad king's whim. 3. Show appreciation to the remaining team members. Take a moment to say thank you and show that you see their hard work. This will boost morale and lighten the mood. Healthy handling of an employment termination can end up being the best thing you can do in your leadership development as well as for the business health. In the same way a gardener needs to prune his plants to keep them healthy and growing strong, as team leaders, we need to nurture the work environment we create, and the biggest contributor to that is supporting a workforce that is fully signed up to the program. You're not a bad person if you need to make a change here and there. Act with respect and with a learning mindset, and you will hopefully save yourself an emotionally costly experience. Hopefully this video has helped you. If you have maybe found any other techniques that make this situation any easier to manage, do share it with us all in the comment section. Until the next one, you've got this. Hi, my name is Priyanka. If you like this content today, why not subscribe?